there would be more teachers for us, then that would be really great. Because the major problem is that for a person to be fully qualifiable as a sign language teacher, it takes more than 3 years at the moment. What if we could reduce that significantly to under 1.5 years? So our goal is producing more teachers because people can learn sign language through our app. At the same time, our really ambitious goal of educating as many children as possible in the rural areas of Nepal seems a little too ambitious, but this is actually doable, like I said. And this works in a really fairly simple methodology of 3-4 process. The first is tab, which means the user will choose the alphabet, draw, which means the user will start writing the alphabet. And at the end, clap, which means the user has learned to write the alphabet. To give you a brief overview, here's a small app interface that we have already designed. So in the first screen, you see that the user is presented with a list of alphabets. The little children, suppose you pick a letter call, which is the first letter of the alphabet, then you're presented on the second screen. And the first one, there are 3 components to be looking at here. The first one you see is the actual writing interface. And the children will start to learn to write the word, to write the letter call, as instructed by the steps right there. And just besides that, there is an animated sign language assistant, which will help them to teach what sign language is associated with that letter. And just below that, there's a real-world example, like in that picture, there is a pen, which means call, which starts from call in the Nepali language. So I want to point out something that, be it hearing-enabled or hearing-disabled person, the language pattern, the learning pattern, what they perceive is the same for a child. So if we can connect this semantics and syntax to a real-world example, we thought they'll learn much better. And through the process of animation, we can make it much more engaging and fun. Also, after one course is completed, we plan to make this more fun and more engaging through a challenge mode, in which the sign language assistant will pop out a random generated sign language, and the user has to guess what it is. So it kind of works like a quiz app. It is also a game and kind of a gamified solution to make learning much more easier and efficient. So let's talk about how we plan to scale Bhasa over the course of time. In the first month, we will be completing all the Nepali language alphabets that exist there. By the first 3 months, we will have worked on the basic communicatory sign language that is required for a person to be able to communicate with hearing impaired people. In the first 6 months, we will have a cloud server, and we will integrate all the basic animation sets in there, and from where the users can download the animation sets and sign language packages based on the context. Like, for example, if you're in a house and if you want to talk to a child who's hearing impaired, then you just enter the keyword household, and then a sign language pack will appear. Then you download that, and you will be provided with the basic sign language gestures that is used to communicate with the child. It goes so on and so forth. In the first 9 months, we will have completed the primary level course, which means this is actually associated with the goal of producing more teachers, because they will be able to complete the primary level course of sign language education, which means they will be able to qualify to teach children up to grade 3. And by the 1 year, we plan to integrate this in governmental sector. Like, how can we enforce this idea in public sectors, in governmental areas, and offices where hearing impaired people can face real difficulty in getting some jobs done? Like, if you're at a front desk, if a person with hearing impairment appears, you need to be able to communicate with them. So we want to integrate this into every governmental office and sectors, so that it will be easier for people to get services in government sectors. So if you look at it, there's nothing quite like Bhasa, because we are planning to promote sign language education in that it is not just limited to people with hearing impairment. If you think about it, it's really an asset to have and a highly qualified skill to attain. Thank you very much. Because at the moment you see the main screen where you have to pick an alphabet. Suppose you pick the first letter of the alphabet, the Nepali alphabet, which is Ka. Then you're presented to a screen. And look at that, how a child will trace the first step, which is the stick in the Ka. And then the child will move on to the next step. And if it crosses that boundary, it will be an invalid input. So this applies to precision as well. It will get much easier when it's on a smartphone or smart device instead of a computer. And the final step, that's how you write the letter Ka. And I'd like to add something here. Also, the animated language assistant. As you can see on the right side, the animated sign language assistant teaches you how to form the hand gesture for that sign language, which means Ka. And below that, there will be a column, which means pen, which will clearly illustrate what the letter stands for. Just one example of that. So at the moment, we're working with other letters as well, and there will be more animations and more, for challenges more, there will be reward points, and we'll add more letters that will move on to words and phrases and sentences, and that's how we plan to, you must have seen the sign language books that there exist. We want to digitize that into an app. And in the book, you don't see you only see the static image. Like there's only this. There's no, they don't show you how to place your fingers on that. We'll just show that by animation, and that's what the sign language assistant stands for in our app. I guess that's it. Thank you.
So this is only one alphabet.
At the moment, we completed one alphabet with animation and the sign language, and in 2 days.
So, how long have you been working on this project?
Around a week. Actually, we had this idea when we came here. We were really new to this domain. We were really new to this domain of disability, and we had this idea when we were invited for the hackathon, and we have been conducting research, going to Dhari to speak to real children to ask how their perception is about the sign language, and we've been working this for a week, and we just generated that in 2 days for the hackathon.
Thank you, Team News Committee. And then I think the Texas College also you could demonstrate the product.
immediately change. Yes, sir.
छोटो नहीं छोटो कसैको बुझ्यो बुझ्यो त्यस्तै हुन्छ अरूले पनि ध्यान दिँदैन ब्रिफ ब्रिफ कङ्क्रिट आइडिया भन्दा चाहिँ
emergency, please help me. Latitude, longitude. Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Are you ready? This is an information software.